Steve, excuse me. Your first couple of years, obviously, you beat Florida your first year.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's that blocked field goal right at the end, close game down at the Swamp.
Well, there was a false start by our offensive lineman that took away the pass to Sydney down to
That's
the
right.
8-yard line.
Yeah,
It
that's
was the big play of the game.
But you guys were right. I mean, you were right there at the Swamp. And your first 2 years, you're playing toe-to-toe with them. These last 2 years, Florida's kind of gotten ahead of you. Is it as simple as them having a Tim Tebow in charge of the offense, or what's happened down there, or hasn't happened up there?
Well, obviously, their recruiting has been very good since Urban Meyer's been there. And they've added number 1, number 2, or whatever, 3 classes in the country almost each of the last 3-4 years, something like that. And of course, Tim Tebow, Percy Harvin, and their defensive players. They're a talented bunch. And even though some of our recruiting classes we thought were going to turn out better than they have, they really haven't for whatever reason. So as we all know, we feel like we've got a really good group of young guys here now, and the guys we have committed, we believe are going to really be good players here. Now, you could say, well, you said that 4 years ago, too. And you're right, I did say it 4 years ago, and I was wrong. We were all wrong. And we got new coaches now. Most of these coaches here have been responsible for recruiting the guys who are here now. So.
Steve, the offensive production the last 4 games in terms of points has really dropped off, and that's led to a lot of questions about play calling. Who is doing the majority of the play calling, and do you think that is impacting the...
Well, actually, our offense has played a little better the last. I think we played better offensively overall this year against Arkansas than we did last year when we scored 34 points. Now, we didn't score every time we were down there about like we did last year, but yeah, I called most of the plays, and I may be the principal play caller now with suggestions from the other coaches. Maybe that's although that's about how we've been doing it. And even though, I still carry all the ball plays out there and so forth. Now, some of you may say, well, let somebody else call them. It's not working very well. And some of you may say, why don't you call them? So it's all different on what's working or not. But I'm still very active sometimes, and really probably I do need to get in the huddle every time they come over to the sideline. But a lot of times I'm on the headset with GA, and he's just in there talking to Steven. Sometimes you don't want 5 guys talking to your quarterback. So I've allowed GA to do most of the talking. But I plan to get back in the huddle with all the guys every time they come to the sideline.
Steve, excuse me, there's been some good quarterback play in this conference this year. Mm-hmm. Guys like Mallet last week, et cetera. But do you still put Tebow at the top of the heap?
In our conference, certainly. Oh, certainly. And, in college, it's more running and passing than pro ball. And Tim Tebow is one of the best, if not the best, one of the best college quarterbacks. Sometimes his passes may not look as pretty as some of those other guys, but he has a knack of getting it there, and he's, I think, without a doubt, the best third down quarterback that maybe has played. Most of their championship game wins, SEC and national, he was sensational on third downs, just unbelievable. But he's a combination runner-passer, and that's what college football has been. And we're not quite the NFL style yet, and there's still a place for running quarterbacks, certainly in college ball.
Coach, from a year ago when they put up 56 on you, they've lost some of their big playmakers. Offense may not be quite as dynamic. Mm-hmm. Does that give you confidence you can keep a little bit closer and like you said, give yourself a chance at the end of the game?
No, whatever gives us confidence is that we played with Alabama. We played with those guys pretty close, and we didn't have much offense that night, although we had some chances here and there, and we had to kick a couple of field goals. But they're a good team, but we just need to go play the best we can, see what happens. Last year's game's history. They're a different team. We're a different team. Go from there.
Coach, as a follow-up to the Tebow question, it looks like the Florida offense has changed a little bit this year. I think their leading receiver is their tight end, Hernandez, with 43 receptions. And are they going more of a short type passing game now that Percy Harvin moved on to the NFL?
I haven't watched a whole bunch of their offense, just on TV. I know Riley Cooper has caught a lot of passes. And, caught, I think, a couple touchdowns against Georgia. So they're still throwing around, and they still can run the ball. I think they're either first or second in the conference running. But they're so good on special teams and defense, obviously that gives them a chance if the offense is sputtering.
Steve, watching last week's game on TV, they cut to you and you look angry at times, or frustrated at times. Is there any chance, I mean, you talked last year that maybe you thought about leaving after last year, that maybe you weren't going to get it done. Any
When did I say that?
I thought Chris Lowe on ESPN said that you gave it a couple of thoughts
Oh,
after last year.
right after the Outback Bowl.
Right after
Who
the
wouldn't
Outback
have?
Bowl. Right.
I mean, who wouldn't have?
Yeah. I mean, is there any chance?
Now, let me tell you what, now, hopefully, obviously, the AD and the president all decide who coaches and who does what, that, and the other. But hopefully, we've got some guys that are really going to help us on the way. And we've got a good coaching staff here and so forth. And again, I hope and plan to go 3 to 4 more years, something like that, and see what happens. And certainly if we're going 6 and 6 or 7 and 5, then someone else certainly should have the opportunity to go. So hopefully that'll happen. And we do have some guys coming, and I'm really looking forward to coaching. And looking forward to watching Alshon Jeffrey, Stephon Gilmore. We really got some good young guys here that got a chance to have big-time careers here.
Coach, I know you can't talk about recruits, but when you say good guys coming, do you mean in the program already that just maybe don't play much, or are you just looking kind of
Guys who are committed that are not here
Okay.
yet, and still some that we're trying to get committed, that we hope and pray they're going to come with us. So we'll see where that all falls out in January, February. Actually, 1 or 2 are coming in January. So anyway,
Coach, what do you make of people calling Theo Alster?
I didn't know there were. I'd make probably about the same thing as you sports writers that when they call for your ouster. About the same way.
Steve, looking back when you arrived here in 2005 with the plan that what you wanted to do with this program, is it safe to say that this was a tougher job than you realized in 2005?
Oh, I would say that we have not recruited quite as well as we'd hoped. I would say that it hasn't worked out as well as we'd hoped, certainly. And we've got a bunch of new coaches now, and this, that, and the other. So we're in the process of sort of redoing it. And we started it this year with these guys, with not a lot of expectations on our team. Our team was sort of, well, we lost a lot of guys that played last year, defensive backs and so forth, a lot of offensive players. So anyway, we've got a new plan in place for the next 3-4 years, and we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, all these other schools got pretty good plans too. So we're in a good conference. We know it's not easy, but we got to have exceptional guys that have a commitment to really want to be champions. So hopefully we can get that going here in the next 2-3 years.